everyone, I'm super excited to host Max Medina. We had in the past live stream about charter cities from the governance point of view, and I thought it would be great to host an architect how they're designing charter cities, startup cities in Honduras. And Max Medina is leading the project. He's currently director at Prospera Honduras. So thanks a lot, Max, for your time to do this.
Pleasure to be here.
I see. So,
So,
Max, quick question. Out of all things, you can do it in architecture. How come you landed at Prospera, Honduras?
it's kind of very interesting. It's kind of a long story, but I will try to make a short version of that. Um, when I was student, I visualized my my goals and vision in a very different way that my classmate was doing it. When I was student, I became the president of the Association of Students of Architecture in Honduras and in my university. And one of the events that we do when I was president, I invite different architects, very, very famous architects. And one of them was Patrick Schumacher from Zaha Hadid Architects. So it was funny that in my country, we host a very big event with all the architects in all Honduras and all the students. Guy that is called Eric Bremen, and basically Eric is the CEO of Prospera. When he arrives, basically it was amazing that we connect in the same instant. A day later, he put me in context of the project that he was envisioning at the time, and we connect. We connect like no one. So from that point, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago. I'm working with them.
Amazing. And what is the difference in like designing like traditional cities versus things you're designing at Prosperous? What was the main difference you came across?
Difference. I think that it's kind of. I would say that the designing in Prospera is interesting because Lava is architecture studio that is based in the countries. And with Prospera, everything that we envision, and we're going to show that in the lecture that I have prepared, it's taught in a very specific way of a design process. Has to be very good quality, but has to be cost effective. And that means that all the spaces that we design, we need to be very transformative in the initiative that we put, and we put a lot of effort in terms of design to have very, very good quality of designs in terms of the function and visuals, but also needs to work in a market that at the end we our job is to be profitable. So if we are not profitable, it's not make sense doing real estate.
Got it. I think this might be a really good time to do a deep dive into your presentation.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So I will share my screen so you guys can see what I have prepared for startup cities. So just
Hmm.
confirming if you can see my screen.
Yep, works.
Amazing. So, well, Mayor introduced me very quick. I'm Max Medina. I am the director of architecture projects in Honduras and Prospera, and also I am junior partner in Lava. Is the architecture studio that I mentioned before. So to start, I would like to start with this endemic problem in the world, which is bad governance, and that's basically for corruption. And I think that poor governance institution coupled with an ineffective and unstable legal framework and regulatory environment makes cities fail in the pursuit of prosperity. So what we do with this, how we can solve that intangible problem, is that we have the opportunity to design the future. And this is a concept that when the startup cities come alive. So what is a city? So it's kind of funny because there is a lot of different definition of this term, but I think that the main one or the basic one is this one. And a startup city is a place that is considered friendly to entrepreneurs, technology, and cryptocurrency. And of course, it can be very, very different with different aspects. But I will focus in the main, at least in the beginning, in the main startup city concept. So, how you can design a startup city? That is a very interesting, intrinsic um, question, but it's kind of interesting because is it go deep into different philosophies, and I will use these three philosophies. You remember resilience, which is the approaching of coupling of the adaptation, mitigation, and risk, and the cities facing the climate change, and how adaptable can be a city into different environment situation. I would say that love, because we are a species designed to love, and this is a solution to all problems in the world. And Prospera, which is a social economic platform that partners with governments to promote and operate economic development. Like the three pillars that is going to be consisting my the lecture that I bring in today. So we're going to start with urban resilience. What I mean with urban resilience is a very like open topic, but I will focus in these six specific topics: energy, waste and recycling, transportation, living, food and water, and life cycles. So it basically is this is like the basic thing from my perspective that cities needs to do to have urban resilience in this kind of situation of a startup cities. So the first one, energy. So energy is very interesting because we have the nature to provide us different options of energy. So we need to be very smart of how we can use the technology available in the world right now to promote this kind of ecological energies and find different solutions to have different alternatives of energy. So this is a kind of difference the how we can use the sun or even the wind to generate electricity to different technologies that are available right now. For example, why not we create this kind of pavilions that can be the representation of trees to provide uh, water and energy for the city, and also create spaces for the community. So in right now in the world we have different typology of solution. We have even facades that it can be a source of energy. We have even this. I was looking this raw lemon, this very interesting project that this German guy is doing. That basically through these spheres of water you can generate energy from the sun and the moon. So it's kind of interesting how we have all those kind of technologies available in the market, and we need to integrate this kind of. Another topic is waste and recycling. So I always think that the waste in the cities is a big issue, and there's a few solutions to them. So one idea of the thousand idea that we can recollect in these initiatives is let reuse plastic in a very interesting way to generate artistic solutions. Why we not give an afterlife to all those waste that we generate? Plastic is one of the thousand things that we generate as a waste, and it can be very interesting how we can recycle and give another opportunity to generate art installations, build spaces, furniture, etc., etc. There is a thousand ways that we can use plastic right now. Transportation, mobility is a big issue always. One of the first things that we need to consider as mobility is the interconnection that it can exist in the cities. So I think that buildings are a great opportunity of mobility also. First, with mobility, we need to think to the cities. Why we not incorporate the buildings in these cool interconnections of the street. Why another building cannot be a street? Why? For example, I put these different examples that you can use the facade or even the roof are two spaces for the community and the spaces for transportation. And of course, like in all all startup cities, we need to find very uh, we need to think less in the car and more in the in the community connection that we can generate through this kind of and fun environments that you can do exercise and do not pollute and have fun, electrical bikes, electrical scooters, etc., etc. I think that there is a bring the community together, and that we have like cars, um, they are not a good connection and to 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 a city that wants to be a different factor in the community aspect. Living, living is another very interesting topic. Is how you combine nature with buildings, and basically one of the ideas that I was thinking is that we need to integrate the topography, existing topographies, into the the living spaces. And these living spaces should be adaptable to different situations, and especially they need to be focused in how the climate works. For example, I put this example that is located in Honduras. We have a very steep topography with different mountains, and we need to think in how to orientate the views of the northeast to maximize winds to the homes and focusing the views, applying bioclimatical principles, green roof, impact of the sun of the homes, water collection. So everything is about balance between nature and the home. So we need to be very balanced in that aspect. Food and water. We need to convert the buildings into producer for and we need to catalyze these ideas to generate spaces that can give us food. For example, in the coral reef, the coral reef is a very interesting example of how a building can produce food for the fish. Why not a building can produce food for the humans? So and also the water can be recycled and used to the different buildings. So we need to think how we can use nature to our as favor through the technology, and how we can generate these social interactions by promoting different business. For example, why not we cannot have a market the food that we can generate in a building. So it's kind of interesting in the things that we can produce in a very easily way, and we need to be very smart of how to use it. So and lastly, life cycle. I think that the buildings have to be have to have a life cycle that it can be easily to reuse when they basically uh, die. And in Honduras, for example, a percentage of waste, if the 5% or the 10%, just imagine as investment of 3 million that is spent in a building, the waste will be 300,000. So we need to be very intelligent to generate prefabricated model of buildings to implement less waste of material, in little construction time and easy to build. So it will be less and cost effective in the labor. So this is kind of examples that I was thinking in how to apply it in a very basic idea of a generate. The main thing is that we need to generate capital of ideas. So the capital of ideas basically is that it's a place where the people go and can generate and interact to different ideas and typologies that to generate business, social interactions, and promote this entrepreneur lifestyle. So this kind of developments needs to bring together this capital of ideas that's a must have in the startup cities. And one thing that is very um, subjective, but very important from my perspective, is love. And what I mean with love, love is giving, right? For me, it's giving from a hug to the life, to a hug or a kiss. So it's more than the physical interaction that we can generate into two people. It's more that aspect of the pillar of the society that is mutual communing and coexistence that makes affection and identity to the with the tribe. So a phrase of Interstellar, one of my favorite movies from Nolan. And basically, love is the only thing that we are able to perceive that transcend the dimension of time and space. And I think that I love that phrase because they put on a very interesting example. Basically, the movie is about interstellar troubles in the space, and he was saying, okay, probably he was there was two guys, one girl and one guy, and the guy was saying to the girl, you love someone in the earth and you are not close to him, so that, and probably you don't know if that guy is still alive. So love is a connection that you have with that person that transcend the dimension of time and space in a very intrinsic way between humans. So I think that humans are designed to love, and that's a thing that we need to try to integrate in the master plan that we design when we design these kind of cities and society with spaces to gather the trip and spaces to promote this kind of things. For example, philosophy, business, painting, dance, literature, architecture, music. And how we do it with amphitheater, art spaces, public spaces, relaxation spaces, and all this idea of place making spaces. Basically, we need to generate spaces to think, share, discuss ideas, and doing capitals and of ideas. That's the main topic that we need to preserve, capital of ideas. And we come back to this original problem, right? Um, Basically, we have this endemic problem in the world, bad governance, and how we can solve this to prosper. And basically, I don't want to feel this lecture like a sponsor from Prospera, but I'm very passionate by this idea because I truly believe it in that. So what is Prospera in a very basic platform that partners with governments to promote and operate economic development hubs? It's very similar to special economic zones. These hubs are integrated with local communities and having semi-autonomous governance and regulations. In a governance, this governance that we promote is designed to enable profitable, sustainable growth. And all this platform is integrated with a common legal law framework, familiar and flexible regulation, Bill of Rights, low taxation, protection of the environment, digital governance, high quality of architecture and engineer, arbitration center, etc., etc. So basically, it's how we humans should be organized in a government, and we bring this platform to offer this service as private enterprise. And we are the only enterprise, private enterprise in the world that we are doing this right now. And the project that we are doing is in Honduras right now. It's in Roatan. It's a beautiful island in the Pacific. And basically, what we are doing is that we partner with Honduran government to promote this idea of the prosperity platform, and we are locating in a specific part of Roatan, which is an island in Honduras, and we are developing the first hub of prosperity, with all this idea of Prospera. So I'm gonna show next some examples of how we apply all my knowledge and my philosophy of architecture in projects. So, for example, how is the office of the future, or how is the office in the startup city? Basically, develop this project with Lava also. that is the other company that I work with. And this project is a two-phase office space with the ability to have a very flexible layout. So it can be a very simple project at the end, but it's the little details of having a flexible environment. So when you go and you would like to have an space, it can be very flexible and to generate profit in terms of the flexibility that you can have in the layout to transform the floor plans into a business model that it can adapt to your business. So it's kind of a simple idea, but at the end it's super intrinsic and is actually um, generate a very very good profit for the real estate investor that want to build this kind of building, because everyone wants the flexibility to generate and design their own spaces. So this idea is that evolution of having more common space at the beginning, or a flexible solution that it can have very full dedicated. In that way, we become the whole floor plan in a sellable area. So in the economic aspect, that is super valuable. And of course, we have a very good and very soft interaction with the people and the space. There is a few image that we can contemplate these kind of ideas and into a canvas. Another idea is this prototype that we generate that is called beta residence, and it could be the house of the future. So it's a prototype that we built that basically is how we can build in a very cost effective way the house of the future. And this idea was very interesting because as you guys can see, these basically cubes. There are um, in a very specific configuration, but at the end are cubes, and the cubes can be whatever you want. It can be you can have 6 cubes, you can have 11 cubes, you can have 2 cubes, you can have 4 cubes. At the end, it doesn't care. Adaptable by using in a very smart way cubes that can represent spaces. For in this occasion, we have 4 cubes, filled cubes, and we have 4 empty cubes. And why these empty spaces are like very weird into the building, and basically because it's the possibility that you can grow in the future. So that's very very valuable to have a very interesting typology of architecture that it can evolve and transform in whatever you want. So at the end, this was a prototype that it can serve to different people and different communities, and it's a very good quality of architecture, very cost effective, very easy to do, is time effective. You can easily make this in this typology of houses in 2 months because it's very easy to build. It's like cubes. Every builder that at least is good in the market can do very easy cubes, and these kind of typologies can be prefabricated. So it's very important to lecture of the future doesn't mean that cannot be cost effective, because at the end it's a challenge. And lastly, I bring this pioneer village that basically was inspired by the nature itself, and in the structure, in the genetic of the city, and inspired by form. So we create this environment that promote all the ideas that we were saying before: education, medical hubs, living spaces, and spaces to commute. So I'm gonna go to this specific development that it can build into phases. Like for example, we this is the phase one, phase two, and phase three. And as you can see, has a very organic movement between the topography of the land, and integrates in a very specific way. For example, we have the mountain, and why we will generate huge cuts in the land, why we not use that topography in a way to create unique architecture. So this is a perspective of how you can see this pioneer village. And our, for example, we have this medical center. all the startup city needs to think through a community in very specific way. And for example, how we can make a hospital in the startup city by generate and promoting different technologies and different and be pioneers in terms of the last things that are in the medical hubs. This is some ideas that you can find easily right now that are super applicable. And this, and in the design process, we need to integrate those correlations into the space. This is a building typology of a convention center with residences. Basically, convention center are very important because this is spaces to gather ideas and do lectures and generate these kind of spaces to the next level. um, Also, residential units. Residential units can be easy to replicate, build, and prefabricated in a way that you can just go and put it into the site. And there has to be very for flexible for entrepreneurs. For example, this space that is very very simple. You have your bathroom, your kitchen, your bedroom, your social area, and a little space to work, and then you have a balcony. So it's kind of a simple layout, but at the end it's a very flexible in in typology that an entrepreneur can use for go there, live, and have fun. This is another a perspective of how it can look this kind of spaces. And this is the typology of the spaces that you can put together and generate different configurations in in the topography and in the layouts. Also, it's important to have spaces like universities to uh, in not only one university. I think that part of this startup cities is generate competition between different universities with different ideas. And I think that having university and educational parts, it's extremely important for this kind of developments. This is an example of agriculture school, how you can convert in a school and easily to adapt into the topography to create agriculture school and use the technology that you have available in the world to integrate in this kind of a space. So uh, this is kind of the end of the lecture, and I would like to give this message that is basically we have time to leave a legacy. If you guys think we are the generation that can make the generation that is unable to catalyze prosperity by designing new governance and architecture solutions. So we have the power right now in our hands, like no one in the history, to create a very specific change. We need to be very, very brave in these kind of initiatives because it's not a political, economic, or a social issue. It's a design challenge. The humans need to work. And what is the next step? Of course, let's design the future.
Oh my God, Max, that was an incredible presentation. So inspiring. I I love the interstellar quote. It really clicked to me differently this time when you mentioned it. So amazing work, and we got the philosophy, we got the project and examples, how you implement those ideas. And and I'm curious, like, so we have all the technological solutions available to make this kind of things happen. uh, why do you think like other cities are not able to adopt this at a scale, and startup cities have this culture of embracing this kind of ideas?
Can you repeat your specific question? You were saying that.
Yeah, sure. Like for example, to implement the ideas you mentioned, why we are not able to see such kind of solutions in our environment these days, but
Okay.
startup city could be a good platform to realize those ideas.
Yeah, definitely. It has to be with how the political environment works in the into the countries. For example, um, to able to do ideas of what I show, we need to legal framework that allowed that investment like this can work. In Honduras, I mentioned the special economic zones because there is a special economic zone in Honduras, but there is different in the world. For example, another example that it occurs to my mind is Dubai. Dubai is in a special economic zone, and they in 30 years make by having an economic zone prosperity like no one. Like Dubai is a very good example of how a special economic zone can work in a governance perspective by having very low taxation, variable flexibility, incentive for the investment, and promote this kind of very flexible density in architecture into basically environment that was very harmage. We all know that Dubai was a desert,
Hmm.
and it's funny that this kind of environments allow to now be an example of how you can make a city in the world.
Got it. So the special economic zone has incentives for private companies to invest big capital, for architects to like go creative in those ideas. So what about the building laws and zonings in this special economic zones?
It's kind of different because the special economic zones can be different from the country. For example, there is special economic zones in China. There is in Hong Kong is a special economic zone. There is special economic zone in Singapore and Macau and Emirates, the United States, in a few countries in Latin America. But in each country they are different. So in this case, the one that is in Honduras is known as the SEDE. This is Zona de Empleo y Desarrollo Económico. And this law is very interesting because it has incentives for especially by creating new alternatives of and allowing new typology of business like ours. So it's different. So it's not in a specific box that you can fit all the special economic zones, but the one that we have in Honduras is very interesting.
I see. And you mentioned aspect about cryptocurrency. How this types this engages with all the ideas and businesses in this special economic zone.
Definitely, because at the end, is cryptocurrency is a decentralized way of money, and what happened with the governments is they would like to have the power in having the ability to control this type of currencies. But when you have cryptocurrencies they had the ability to be decentralized, you have the power to increase the liberty and freedom in the and that it can represent in the development itself. So, for example, in Prospera, we promote Bitcoin, for example, to be a legal tender. I know that our initiative, like in El Salvador, they are doing a Bitcoin city that is super interesting, designed by Fernando Romero from Mexico, and I think that cryptocurrency is a thing that is not so. There is no doubt that that's the future. It's like the metaverse. I think the metaverse. We know that it's gonna be the future. Like we can say no, it's not gonna work or something like that, but we know it. We it's like one of the most biggest companies right now that is Facebook even changed their name to Meta because they know that the future is going that way. So it's kind of interesting how we can combine these digital spaces with the physical spaces and promote the cryptocurrencies to all the places.
I see. And we see a lot of cutting edge design in architectural competitions, but sometimes they don't get realized. So how those ideas can be connected to cities like Prospera, Honduras, and how do these architects find clients in these economic zones?
Yeah, because one of the interesting things that you can do for example, in these economic zones and especially in Prospera, is that you can promote orange economy. Orange economy is basically all the work that you can produce in a remote way. So imagine architects. Architects can work from Honduras to the whole world. So
Hmm.
and it's kind of fun because you live in the beach, you can have a coconut, and you're working to another part of the world. And not only architecture, I think that all the typology of business that imagine lawyers, accountability, architects, designer, communication, whatever you want. Everything that you can do remote, you can do it in a very nice place with low taxes, in a great environment, entrepreneur spirit, your computer to the whole world. So that's not a limitation that should be in the world right now. That's the reason that plays it with very incentives. Like what example that I come to my mind is in Spain. All the YouTubers and streamers are going to Andorra because they have a very better incentives for this kind of business. So it's kind of funny how those countries doesn't realize the amount of advantage that they can have if they promote incentives, economic incentives for the business.
Got it. We have a question from Vienna, wondering about what changes to existing zoning laws you would make in order to set the stage for this type of development.
I wonder what about what changes to existing Sony law will you making to set the stage? Oh, definitely. It's kind of interesting, and I think that it's a very you can do a lot of change. But I would say that the main one is increase the liberty and freedom and flexibility to regulation and legal framework to catalyze the prosperity in a place. So if you don't have that aspect, your special economic zones wouldn't be so valuable, and they will go to another place because you can have the taxation aspect. Dubai has it, a lot of places in the world has it, but the ability to have legal frameworks, strong legal frameworks, and the flexibility to use them and create laws and create incentives and create platforms. That's the only way that you can increase liberty in a way that you can catalyze the developments.
Yeah, and I think you might have partially answered this question that apart from taxation, what are like the legal framework you mentioned uh, brings a bigger difference.
Yeah, definitely. At the end, it's like a domino uh, uh, game, right? One piece make the other, and it's like a wave. I think that if we promote these kind of incentives and we promote these kind of ideas, the the prosperity will catalyze in a way that uh, it will work for the whole humanity to coexist. And and that's the reason that I think that I believe so much in these kind of ideas, because at the end, humans has a great challenge to 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 create our own perspectives of how we should be organized. And if we put in a balance different examples of how we should organize, I think that we have great examples that we already saw that it's working, and we already saw what is not working. So we need to be very intelligent and try to think in the next level of how humanity can evolve. I don't think that we are prepared for that. To be honest, I don't think that we are prepared for a big change in the socioeconomic aspect. We are still fighting for the still dumb things about who 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 is that you have a better a better and bigger um, um, economical situation than me, and stupid things like, for example, we can see example in the war with Russia and war with Afghanistan, Palestine, etc. I think that there is a lot of factors that are wrapping us as a humanity, and that's kind of disappointing.
Nice. And like one thing realized, like with this special economic zone, a lot of businesses outside the country can also come in based on the incentives. So it helps in the local economy for employment and even technological development of the city or the country also grows with such kind of incentives.
Definitely, definitely. And I see that Vieno has another question. Currently, are you working with a team of real estate developers to bring this idea into reality? Have you developed pro forma to see financial feasibility on these projects? Definitely, definitely. We have an internal real estate team that we are all the time. We are putting these projects into pro formas to see if they are financially feasible. Unfortunately, yes, they are very financial feasible. And at the end is that's what I was saying in the beginning, that has to be cost effective. If it's not cost effective, it's not make sense having this amazing infrastructure. And the good challenge is that you have to be cost effective and have a amazing quality of architecture. So at the end, with great budget, you can do whatever you want. Like you can create skyscrapers that are not that are challenging the the physics and all, everything they want. But if you have a low budget and you still can do very good quality of architecture, you are a great architect. You are more than the others. So that's a great challenge. And yeah, and one of the beauty things of Prospera is that we are not we are developing, but it's not our main goal. We develop the platform so that people can come, and they then developers can come and do their own projects. So at the end, we are a canvas. And yes, we need to invest so that people can explore the possibilities. But at the end, our main platform so the people can come and easily invest and grow up their projects.
Got it. So like there are developer who might be interested in like buildings, entertainment or hospitality. Like what about the infrastructure needs? So sometimes, let's say if there's a technology coming company moving, they need high speed internet or better water facilities. Like who who is the party investing in that infrastructure development?
Yeah, and yeah, in this occasion, has to be Prospera. It invest in the infrastructure of the place, because at the end, we are like developing the city, and we are leaving like the empty spaces so that people can develop. But we need to provide this kind of infrastructure, basic infrastructure. Um, and of course there are challenges. For example, internet is one of them. We live in an island and in Honduras,
Mhm.
so it's kind of a challenge having a high speed of internet. But we have find solutions, and solution that already exist in the world to increase the quality of this kind of basic infrastructure. But I think that we always need to look for technologies that are coming. For example, Starlink. I think that Starlink, we are all waiting that Starlink can be in the whole world, and it can be a solution for the issues like internet.
Got it. So we saw your ideas for the office, residence, and village. If someone who is watching this call wants to collaborate, what kind of collaborate collaborators you're looking forward?
Definitely, I think that it can be uh, uh, different aspects. For example, if someone wants to develop something, of course that we can help them. To I personally can help them in the all the design process and all the financial performance, so the project can be feasible. if someone already have a project, we can facilitate them in a real estate perspective, that they can develop and we will support them in the whole process so they can build and work as a financial way. And also, if they are interested in invest in the existing infrastructure or the existing way designs that we have in our minds, still can do it. So at the end, we are extremely open and flexible for this kind of real estate solutions. So we are open to the world, so they can invest and catalyze the prosperity with us.
Got it. And let's say if I'm a real estate developer, what is currently the housing demand in Prospera, Honduras? Like uh, what's the need of?
Yeah, right now, for housing, working in different options. So we have one that is under construction right now. There is a tower of 14 layers, and it will be um, apartments of one apartment, studio apartments, and it's gonna be 2 bedrooms apartments. So it's gonna be an amazing development that basically you will have ocean view in all the levels, um, surrounded by young people and a great entrepreneur spirit. Also, we are building another typology for people that uh, want between $800 to $1,000, and they will live in a very good quality of architecture into the landscape, and they will still be into the jurisdiction, so the people can have, at the end we have a different bunch of different typology of housing solution, um, and we are focusing in that everyone can live in the place, not because if you in lower than the rich people can live. That's not a thing that we would like to promote. We would like to promote different solution of housing for everyone can live in the place, in a volunteer way. So we have economical solutions, we have medium solutions, and we have the high end solution that in this case we partnered with Sahadid Architects to design the high end solutions. It's basically the villas that you can find in the website.
Got it. And what do you foresee the generation who would be moving in this place? Is it like remote workers or digital nomads first, or it could be anyone?
It could be anyone, and I think that you tackle two very specific typology of people that we would like to pursue. Young people, that pioneers that want to be entrepreneurs, generate business, catalyze economy. Um, Also very open, and the environment's great to invest in there, because you imagine a guy from Norway or Estonia, um, they they live in Estonia in the summer, and when the hard climate tackle, you just come to Roatan and spend 6 months and work from here and have fun. And another typology that we are looking for is investors, different investors that want to create this kind of idea for Silicon Valleys in the whole development, and young people from Honduras that they uh, need to they are thinking right now to leave the country because the country is not generate the platform that they expect, and they would like to stay in Honduras and have prosperity in Honduras. That's my case, because Prospera, I wouldn't leave a long time ago, because
Mhm.
uh, I know that, like me, there is a ton of young people that by the governance structure that exists right now, and especially in Latin America, um, it's very very hard to have prosperity in the country, in a in especially if you are not connected to the wealthy governance structure. So without corruption, it's very hard to be successful in the environment. But ideas like Prospera can give you an opportunity to stay in the country and have prosperity in the country.
Yeah, like I could totally foresee like this could be the hub where people are incentivized to stay in the country and pursue all the technological innovation. And you mentioned a few ideas which had like fabrication, digital fabrication components. So, are there currently like factories set up inside the city for to implement those kind of ideas?
Yeah, definitely. We have a one that we are building right now that is called Circular Factory. Circular Factory is a business that is led by Alicia Namad. Is a Mexican pioneer that is based in England right now, and she's putting this factory that's called Circular Factory, and basically what it consists is having high technology, combine high technology with local labor hand. And what I mean is that, for example, in a specific way, she's bringing robots that basically, that now that we have the technology to implement robotic systems and structures that can do very specific architecture for manufacturing, and is bringing all the knowledge of a system. So because in Roatan we built a lot of in wood, and because it's easy and cheaper to build than concrete, and uh, Circular Factory is bringing all these experts to combine the best that is exist in the world to the best that you can find in Honduras. So it's a great duality that you can find in this kind of developments. And right now we are building Circular Factory. It's a very exciting development that is it's gonna be soon available. I think that the building gonna take 4 months to build it.
That's amazing. What is your piece of advice to all the young Max Medina who are studying architecture or construction or real estate in your country?
Definitely, I would say fucking dream. Like, why you wouldn't be able to easiest shit that you can imagine? Why stop you? What is the thing that it can stop you? No, let's focus now just in dream, like that idealization of ideas. uh, if you have the 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 opportunity to generate a path that is take you to those dreams, definitely you need to be very wise where are you leading the path. And I think that the only possibility to have successful in life is by dreaming. uh, every every morning I have an alarm that it says, today I'm gonna do the impossible. And it's kind of funny because I wake up and I say fuck again. Impossible days. But it's like a reminder that is saying, hey Max, you have a great opportunity, you are extremely blessed, take that in consideration and look for the impossible, because you today have the opportunity to make it true. So it's a constant reminder to put more of yourself and put you forward that your limits are available right now.
That's a great advice. And I saw, I follow you on social media. I saw you went to Dubai Expo, and it was amazing experience. So, any key takeaways?
Definitely, Dubai Expo was extremely interesting because it was a development in the middle of Dubai. And as many of you will know, that Dubai is extremely hot and dry. So how you can make a walkable city in that harsh climate? So they made it, and they make it work like no one. Like, I was so impressed with the detail that it consists the whole development of Dubai Expo. So they are a great example of how you can um, have a very world class mindset and make it true, because they built a development and they put all the countries in the world to work together. Like that's almost impossible how they do it. And yeah, it was an amazing experience. So we with Lava we built the German pavilion. That was one of the main reasons that I went to see the pavilion, and it was amazing. Even the parties there, it was super interesting that you can find a guy from Mexico that is dancing with a girl from Korea, or a guy from the India that is talking with a guy from the US. So it was amazing to see all the cultures coming together in a specific way, and the amount of quality of architecture that you can find in the place is ridiculous. Like the best of the world was there. Me as an architect was a kid. It was like a kid in Disneyland. Well, like I was so emotional impact with all the different solutions that all the pavilions implement in the climate of Dubai. So it was very good experience.
It got you more excited about things in Prospera, Honduras.
Definitely.
I see. And like, so this is gonna be tricky. You can't take a German pavilion's name. Which country's pavilion was your favorite?
um I will say three of top three. Definitely Germany. It's not because we do it. I swear, it's not because of that. It was we won a lot of trophies and awards, because we the experience, especially the experience that you can find inside, was ridiculous, personal and good. I remember to go, because I had to go to very early, and I remember to see lines from 8 a.m. from the morning to the 10 p.m. Uh, so I was impressed that all day was a line. And the first thing that the girl's saying is like, "Sorry, I know that you do line all day, but we are good." So you understand why the people do lines. So it was a very good experience. The second one, I would say the Mobility Pavilion by Norman Foster. Extremely cool experience. Norman, we know that Norman do amazing things. And the last one, I will say that Terra Pavilion. Terra Pavilion is another huge pavilion that it was focused in the environmental aspect. And I would say that those three was extremely cool.
Are you guys planning to organize a conference or expo in Prospera, Honduras?
Definitely a bunch of conference. There is we have and it's funny because we didn't organize this, but it was summit a couple of days ago that different entrepreneurs and different people they're say, hey, let's put together and go to Prospera. And they built an amazing summit very organically. And they at the end of the event they pitch a different idea of businesses. Even people that pitch businesses, they already are living in the development. They stay in Roatan, and 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 there are some of those ideas were to promote this kind of different lectures in the conference in the place. So I think that it's going to be once very soon in August with specific topics. And if you would like to come, more than welcome to receive you.
I would love to. Uh, and if we fast forward a decade, what would Prospera Honduras look like in 2032?
I hope that it can be a place that people from all the world, and especially from Honduras, can have prosperity. I think that if we tackle that specific issue of prosperity, we do our job. and hopefully it will be a great place with kick-ass architecture and a great environment. So hopefully that will be a place that it can be a pillar of the world. By the way, I think I saw a comment that is Kara. That's one of the people they want to go to the summit that is doing a very interesting project. Actually, I'm joining with her to to put to tokenize real estate. So it's a very interesting project that we would like to promote there. And she's putting the information of the coming conferences. So I don't know if the people can see this kind of message, but it's on LinkedIn.
I will share it on the YouTube too, so people can review it later. Awesome. And I'll do a rapid fire round to end the interview. So you'll have like 10 to 15 seconds. You got to make it brief. Okay. Let's do this.
Yeah,
Which city is in your travel bucket list?
London.
Favorite architect?
I would say two. Bjarke Ingels and Daniel Liminsky.
Yeah. Any book or which or video which made a big impact in your life?
The Chronicle of Narnia.
I see. Your favorite movie?
Interstellar.
Yeah. Your hobbies?
Um, um, have fun. I don't know. Play video game, soccer. Have fun in the beach, and be fucking happy.
I see. Um, your favorite architecture or urban place?
Barcelona, definitely.
Like not a city, like a particular urban like environment or a building.
I will say, hmm, I love the Maxi in Rome by Zaha Hadid Architects. I remember to stay 5 hours there, and my wife was like, "Can we go?" And I was like, "No, please."
I see. Is there anything you wish you would have done differently in your life?
Definitely not. I had made mistakes, and I had very bad moments in my life, but definitely it's part of living. So I'm extremely grateful for everything that is happening in my life, very bad or in good moments.
If you had unlimited time and resources, what is one thing you would do tomorrow morning?
I will definitely go to Mars and come back.
Amazing. And your role model?
Sorry, can you say again?
Your role model.
Role model. Um, I would say that grateful. Be grateful is my pillar of my life. That's the key to be happy.
Awesome. And lastly, is there anything which we didn't cover in this interview and you would like to share?
Um, I think that I have a lot of fun talking of the thing that I'm passionate about it, and the only thing that I would add is that I'm extremely grateful to know you by this platform, and to share, because at the end I know that it can be people watching us and listening us, but uh, right now in this space, in this moment, I'm seeing you and sharing with you, and that's unique. So I'm extremely grateful for knowing you and be talking with you this kind of crazy ideas and we are two dreamers trying to change the world.
It's a pleasure. I'm grateful as well. And for all those listening, also check out Meg's podcast. Can you give a shout out to your podcast?
Definitely, I have two podcasts that is kind of abandoned right now, but you can see great content. I promise to return to the two projects soon. So the first one is Epicenter Podcast. You will find a lot of entrepreneurs and different ideas related to Prospera there. And the second one is only about architecture. That is called Architecture for the Soul. and you will find interviews with different architects around the world. You can check one. There was very good one with Patrick, Metaverse and Liberty and all those kind of things. So it was very interesting to know to get connect with a bunch of different people through this kind of platform. So Architecture for the Soul and the Epicenter podcast.
Awesome. It's a great way to end the interview. Thanks a lot, Max, for your time to do this. Have a nice
Thanks to you, Mayor. Definitely was a great talk.
yeah. Bye. Thanks everyone for